Hello, hello. How are we this evening? There's always like a little bit of a weird delay. So I wanted to hop on a few minutes early just to make sure we were good to go. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I have my volume up. So let's see how we are. Okay, good. Hi, friends. Happy Tuesday. Are we ready to chat about all things time management and stress and busy seasons? I hope so. I am ready. It is a busy season, so it is the perfect time to chat about this. If you are on, let me know in the comments if you can hear me, because I have all my things muted so that I am not hearing myself, and I just want to make sure that you can hear me, and then we will get started. Okay. Let me grab my notes. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the comments. Okay, Carol, you're the best. Thank you. That's all I'm ever concerned about. I will come back and look at comments after. I'm actually going to make my video a little bit smaller so I'm not staring at myself. Okay, perfect. That's better. Welcome to Cultivate for September. My name is Jesi Conder, and I am the CEO and one of the co-founders here at Align. And today we are talking about something that I think really contributes to our core values here at Align, one of which is balance. And that is something that we're going to talk about a lot today when we're talking about stress management, time management, and the importance of self-care kind of in that process. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about myself and my crazy life and my crazy schedule to get us started, because I think that we're all busy. We all have a lot on our plates. We all have a lot of commitments. And I do think in the past, probably 6 years, I learned some skills and habits and tactics that helped me get a better handle on time management and managing my own level of stress around a very busy family in a very busy season. And honestly, I think it's always a busy season, right? Like right now it's back to school and it's fall sports and it's busy. And then we hit the holidays and it's busy. And then we hit maybe spring and there's traveling and there's other sports and there's other things happening and you're running a business and maybe there's an incentive. Like it's always busy. We're always in a busy season. Summer can be just as busy. But for me, it has been really helpful to kind of dive into some really like tactical ways that I have helped to manage some of the stress and some of the craziness of a big, busy family. So I am going to talk about that with you all today. Here at Align, we love to do free community events like this where we just come together as a group and we talk about topics that help you increase your own well-being, that help you find more of our core values in your daily life: alignment, abundance, balance, joy, inclusion, diversity. Those things are important to us. And so we love to highlight our field, our ambassadors, other businesses that we feel like align with us and share them with you. And so when Shanae and I were planning Cultivate for the next few months, this was a topic that I kind of volunteered to take because it's something that I think has really helped me maintain a little bit more balance, which helps me have more joy in the day-to-day. because I don't know about you, raise your hand. When you're stressed out, it affects your entire family. It affects your partner or your spouse or your kids, or your extended family or your coworkers. I am someone who definitely lets my stress like leak out to other people around me, and that's not always my intention. It's not always what I want to do. And so managing my own time and my own stress is a priority so that I can treat everyone around me the way that I should be treating them to the best of my ability. That being said, this is never perfect, right? Time management and balance can feel a little bit like a myth, and they're not perfect. So I would highly encourage you to approach any type of time management system with a lot of grace for yourself. You're still going to forget things. You're still going to mess up. You're still going to have moments where you feel stressed and overwhelmed. How do we deal with that? And what are some ways that we can improve those moments and maybe not have them as frequently in our day-to-day lives? So a little bit about us. My name is Jesi, like I said, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about my family because I think it will paint a picture of why time management and stress management is near and dear to my heart. I am married. I live in Oklahoma with my husband, who is retired from the Army. He spent 21 years in the Oklahoma Army National Guard, and he also worked full time. And so I spent several years solo parenting on top of having a big family. And he spent time, serving our country and then also coming home and having to reacclimate to a busy family with a lot of kids. And that can be really stressful too. And honestly, our kids have gone through that process as well, right? Like we've all been a part of that process. We have 4 kids. They are back to back. They're currently 12, 12, 13, and 15. And so when I asked my husband last year, I was like, we did not consider the fact that all of our kids would be in high commitment activities, but none of them could drive at this point in our life. And so we spend a lot of time driving kids around because they are in kind of a limited number of activities each. We're not that family that has our kids in 17 different activities. And that's kind of part of our time and stress management. But they're 12, 12, 13, and 15. So the things that they are involved in, dance, orchestra, gymnastics, football, for 2 of our 4, they're high commitment. They have practices 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. Right now in this season, we currently get the joy of attending 3 football games every single week. My older son plays JV on Mondays. My younger son plays 7th grade JV and varsity. It's really 4 games a week, either Tuesday or Thursday. And then my older son suits up for varsity on Friday nights as well. So that's just one part of our craziness. And we have 2 girls as well who are really involved in dance and gymnastics and orchestra and school and all the things. We have 5 pets. So we are those crazy people who felt like 4 kids wasn't enough. Let's have 5 pets. And I always say, and a partridge in a pear tree. We do not have birds. That is actually one of my boundaries. No birds as pets in this household. So it's crazy, right? Our schedule is crazy. On top of that, of course, I have a line. We have a new business that we started, and that requires a lot of time and attention and energy and mental energy, like mental focus. And in a business like Align, I always say it's very people-y. And so we are incredibly lucky to have almost 1,100 ambassadors and affiliates who have joined us here at Align in our first 6 months in business. That's a lot of people to manage. Now, we're super fortunate that they're not employees. They are independent ambassadors who help us represent and share the brand. But when I take that on, it is not a time or a person management thing. It is the weight of wanting to be sure that what we do here at Align is the right thing for them and is serving them well and is giving them the tools and the resources that they need to do their job well and sharing our brand. And so there's a lot going on. On top of that, I am really passionate about everyone having multiple streams of income. And that is why Align is not a place where we expect you to have all of your eggs in one basket and only share our brand, and we don't allow you to do other things. It's just not realistic. Most people have a full-time job or a part-time job on top of sharing a brand or doing direct selling or something of that nature. And so I believe in that. I am still a licensed real estate agent. I spent about 5 years in real estate full time, and I no longer do it full time, but I still serve friends, family, and I keep my license active in order to have another source and stream of income in the future for our family with investment properties. Who knows what we'll do with that? But all that to say, we have a busy household, and I know that you do too. Like, this is not a message of, look how great I am, I manage all of this perfectly. Not at all the case. I mess up every single day. Honestly, today was probably not my finest day of time management. It was a little busy before we hopped on just now, and that's okay. Like, we're having dinner after this call tonight because I don't do evening calls super often, and that is one of my time management like boundaries that I work around in order to prioritize my family. And so today, being on in the evening means that my husband's picking up extra kids and we're having dinner later, and that's okay. Like, it's not perfect. These are just some things that have helped me feel like I have a little bit more of a grasp on maintaining my own sanity in a busy family and what feels like always a busy season. So the first thing that I wanted to share with you this evening is about establishing your own boundaries around what is really important. And so you don't have to do this right now, but you can take notes, you can put it in your phone real quick in a note, or you can watch this later and, ask yourself these questions later. But I want to encourage you, as we kind of dive into this topic tonight, to think about what is most important to you. And really take a few minutes to think about, like, what is actually important to you? And are your actions and your time spent every day, the time that you're spending day after day after day, do those two things align? I would say that for most people, they don't. I think that most of us, and maybe not everyone, but I would think a lot of us would say, like, oh, family is the most important thing. But do your actions align with that? And it's not going to be perfect. Like I said, it's not going to be balanced all the time. That doesn't mean that you don't take care of your job or your responsibilities or your community or your volunteer things. Like, there's a lot that you have going on in your life. But take a few minutes and just think about, like, what are the top 3 things that are really the most important to me? I can tell you one of mine is freedom. I want time freedom and I want flexibility. That's really important to me. I have to make decisions around our schedule as a family that allow time freedom and flexibility to maintain a high priority in our life. So if I commit to 5,000 committees and 7 volunteer opportunities and every sign up sheet that comes my way from 4 kids in school and 7 different activities, do I have time freedom? Do I have flexibility in my schedule? Probably not. So I have to make hard decisions sometimes in order to align what's most important to me with my time spent, the time I'm spending day to day. And so think about what's important to you. Family is another one that I know a lot of people would say, right? Family is the most important to me. Is the time you're spending day to day showing up that way in action? Like, in your actions and in the time that you're spending, is family the most important? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe you need to tweak some things and make some adjustments in order to do that. And so when we talk about time management, we're going to talk about calendar blocking. We're going to talk about some tips and tricks that I use to kind of stay on top of things. But the thing that I would say is, like, you have to get control of your schedule and yourself in order to prioritize the things that are the most important to you. So family is the most important thing to you, and you want to have really quality, dedicated family time, then you're going to have to say no to some other things. You're going to have a good handle and good control over your schedule. And you cannot constantly be shifting your schedule around and putting your family at the very, very end of the list. I have done that before. Like, I will readily admit my personality can slide a little bit into workaholism. And I have had a season in our lives where I put work way up here. And honestly, my marriage, myself, and my family suffered for that. And so there is no wrong answer. If like work is your number one priority, great. If family is your number one priority, great. If building a long-term income opportunity somewhere is like the top of the list, number one priority, that's great. But you have to line up the rest of your time and the rest of your schedule and the way that you manage that to align with whatever is most important to you. If you really want to have alignment in between what you say is most important to you and what you're doing, like if you want those to come together in alignment, we have to manage it. So another thing that I wanted to point out about boundaries is the tendency to people please. I call myself a reforming people pleaser because I'm not reformed. I still have a tendency to want to people please, even though I've been working on it for a long time. But if you want to really manage your time and you want to de-stress your schedule and not feel constantly overwhelmed and overstressed and overcommitted, you're gonna have to say goodbye to people pleasing, because you will have to tell people no. And you don't owe them an explanation why. Sometimes the answer is just, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. You don't even have to say why. And that is so hard sometimes, tricky, right? But it's so important. I think something I want to focus on tonight is the fact that you cannot do everything. And believe me, I try. Like, I definitely try. But we're incapable. We're incapable of managing ourselves, our families, our businesses, our kids, multiple activities, every volunteer thing, every cause that's out there, every good cause that's out there. We can't do it all. And so I would really encourage you to pick what is the most important to you. A couple of things, 2 or 3 things. What is the most important to you? And write them down. Put them on a Post-it note. Stick them on your laptop, stick them on your mirror. These are the 3 things that are most important to me. And I'm going to manage my time and manage my schedule in order to make these 3 things the top priority in my life. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be always in balance. It's not going to be every day. But I really do believe that we can make effort and improvement to kind of get those things back in alignment. Okay. So the number one thing that I would say after boundaries is committing to your calendar. I am a calendar girl, okay? And I have a couple different things that I'll talk about what we do in our house, but I would encourage you to commit to your calendar instead of committing to everyone and everything, okay? We're not going to commit to everyone and we're not going to commit to every single thing. We are going to commit to our calendar. So the number one thing in committing to our calendar, honestly, probably one of the best tips for time management and especially for de-stressing your schedule, in my opinion, is to stop relying on remembering things. Raise your hand or tell me in the comments if you forget something every day. Like, we have such a human tendency to be like, oh, I'll remember that. Oh yeah, I can't forget that. Oh, don't let me forget I have that appointment on Friday. Oh, I have to remember to get cat food. Oh, I have to remember the kids need $2 for pizza day. Oh, I have to remember the library book. Like, girl, friend, guy, you're not going to remember. Like, stop relying on remembering. When we rely on remembering, overwhelm. Our brain is literally flooded with so much information content, news, social media, school emails, work. There's no way we're remembering it all. So stop relying on your brain to remember things. Get a calendar. I highly recommend using a calendar like Google Calendar that's on your phone. I know people love paper. I love paper too. We do use a paper planner for our family planner. So we have both because I need a lot of reminders because I don't want to rely on remembering. But I don't think you can beat having it on your phone. You should have your phone with you all the time. And your paper planner is not going to beep at you or buzz at you to remind you about something. And so we have a family planner that sits in my office, open on the week that we're on, that shows kind of everybody's weekly view of what we have going on as a family. But I fill it out like one time at the beginning of the season or as things come up, and it just sits there as like an overview for people to refer to. My like bread and butter must have is using my Google Calendar, and it's free. Okay, so I do calendar blocking, and I would just really recommend that you try it. I know it's not easy. It's a habit that we have to build. If you're someone who's currently relying on remembering or trying to use a paper planner, like if you use a paper planner and it works for you, awesome. But I know for me, I tried to use a lot of paper planners over many years, and it just does not stick for me. Like, I can't tell you how many beautiful planners did not end up getting used. And I might use them a little bit and then I chunk them. Like, that's not helping, right? So when you commit to your calendar, that means you commit to the habit of putting everything on your calendar. And when you use an electronic calendar like your Google Calendar, or there's a million different apps, right? Cozy, different apps like that. You get to take it all out of your brain, and you're no longer reliant on trying to remember stuff. Your first action when something comes up, it goes on your calendar. And this kind of comes back to boundaries, because Shanae can attest, if it's not on my calendar, I will not be there. And I love you and I appreciate you, and it doesn't mean that I don't care. But if it's not on my calendar, it's not on my schedule for the day, and I will probably not be there. It has to live on my calendar, period, dot. So that means when something comes in from the school that I need to remember, I put it on my calendar. When I'm standing at the doctor's office and I have to make the follow-up appointment, I don't take an appointment card. I don't tell myself I will remember. I don't wait on them to send me a reminder. I put it in my calendar immediately. When my kids tell me I want to have a sleepover at Sally's house on Friday, I put it in my calendar. Everything goes in my calendar, because then I don't have to remember anything. I literally open my calendar and it tells me what to do every single day. So I would really encourage you to stop relying on remembering and commit to your calendar. If you've never done calendar blocking, there's probably tons of trainings about it. But I'm just going to talk a little bit about what works for me. So a couple of things that work really well for me are making sure that I put my personal routines on there. So my calendar every single day says take your medicine and your magnesium, because I take medicine and magnesium every single morning. I put that on like a 5-minute at like 6:30, because that's around the time in the morning that I'm going to be in the kitchen getting stuff ready for my kids. My phone literally sends me a boop on my calendar, take your medicine and your magnesium. Personal routines, like if you do daily movement or you work out, if you need to schedule your skincare routine in the morning, do it. Like I have 15 minutes when I wake up that says like wash your face, brush your teeth, read your devotional and make your coffee. Like put your personal routines in there, because it's not that you're not going to remember to wash your face or brush your teeth or wake your kids up for school. You're probably going to remember some of those things. But when it comes to your personal routines, and especially when we get into things like your self-care and skincare or like your end of day rituals, we might blow them off in the name of serving everyone else. And so it's just a good reminder to put those personal self-care reminders into your calendar because you see them. Drink your water, eat lunch. Like I have take a lunch break on my calendar every single day. Because in order for me to show up and not be moody and crazy and take my stress out on other people, I have to take good care of myself. And that means I need a lunch break. Like maybe you don't, maybe you like to work through lunch. I don't. I don't want to work while I'm eating lunch. I want a 30-minute break from staring at my computer to eat lunch. Like put the personal routines into your calendar. Time block all of your regular things, taking the kids to school, taking the kids to practice, your regular appointments, any volunteer commitments that you have, things like church, family time, family dinner, obviously work, put it all in there. And it's okay to tweak it as you go. Like if you go start using Google Calendar tomorrow, you might put like your whole daily routine in there. Make sure that you're setting things where they like recur, right? Like you don't want to do this every single day. So like my medicine and magnesium every single morning, I made that calendar appointment one time for 6:30 in the morning and it repeats every single day, Monday through Friday. So I don't want it beeping at me on the weekends. Make sure that you schedule a rest time. I would encourage you to consider a no commitment day. It's not always possible. Like Sundays, I try to have a no commitment day. We might still go to church. We might still go to lunch. There might be a weekend where we have family in town and we want to go watch my nieces and nephews play their sports. But those are choices that I make instead of a commitment that I have every single day on Sunday. So carve out time and put it on your calendar. A day date, a lunch date, whatever that looks like. Your self-care and your rituals. This is where the de-stressing comes in a busy schedule and a busy season. Put it on your calendar. And I'm telling you, this is why my paper planner does not serve me well, because when I'm laying in bed and I'm really tired and I don't want to do anything, like I don't want to move anymore at the end of a really busy day, my paper planner is in another room, silent. It's not doing anything for me. My phone will literally boop and remind me to go wash my face, to turn off my phone, and to read or watch TV. Like, so those things happen because they're in my face and I'm being reminded to do them and I'm not relying on remembering to take care of myself. And if I don't do them, that's a choice that I made. So if I have a time set on my calendar to turn off my phone and to read a book or watch TV and I choose to stay on my phone, that's on me, right? Like I can't sit and say I don't have time to relax or I'm too busy or I never get downtime. Like I made the choice to ignore that time that I had set aside for self-care because I wanted to scroll on my phone. And if scrolling on your phone is your self-care and it is your relaxing time, that's totally fine. Set some time aside to do it. Give yourself that time. Okay, what else? Check your calendar before you commit to anything new. This is what I asked my husband today. I said, what do you think works best for me when I'm managing my time well versus when I get stressed out, overwhelmed? And he said, definitely when you like pre-plan your week and when you check your calendar first. So if I know it takes 45 minutes to get my kids somewhere, I can't schedule a call like back to back to back if I have time built in where I have to go take my kids somewhere or we have an appointment that we can't miss. Or sometimes those weird like dentist appointments pop up, you only have them like once every 6 months. And for my kids, it's like a whole afternoon of all dentist appointments. If I'm not planning ahead for the week, I don't know that that's coming, then I'm overcommitted to everyone and everything instead of committing to my calendar. So commit to checking your calendar before you commit to something new. We do use a paper planner for our family. So we have kind of a weekly glance. Another one that I love a lot is Erin Condren has like it can like hang on your fridge and it just shows 1 week at a time. Personally, for our family and the crazy schedules that we lead, I don't really want to see the whole month. Honestly, most of the time I only want to see today. What do we have to do today? Who has to be where today? But a week at a glance works better for me. So those are two things that I do use paper for, because my husband can look at them without asking me. My kids can look at them without asking me. They sit out, they're filled out. When they asked me, my daughter came in a few days ago and said, "What time do I have dance on Tuesday?" Guess what? I don't remember. I don't know. Everybody has to be 7 different places on Tuesday. So I was like, I don't know, check the planner. And she turned around and it's 5:45. It's written on the planner. So it helps them do more and not me do everything. Everything else goes on my Google Calendar. And then we do also use like a dry erase board calendar for chores for our family. And I have a video on this on my personal wall. So if you need a good chore system, I swear it's the best chore system ever. We've used it for years and years, and I don't have to touch it. I don't have to manage it. And my kids all have 2 things they do every single day. It rotates weekly and it keeps our household going without me having to do everything, right? Like that is what we're focused on here. In order to de-stress our schedule, we cannot be the one who does all the things all the time for everyone. It just doesn't work. Okay. Next up, pre-plan each day and each week. So now I've got everything in my life on my calendar. How do I manage that daily and weekly? I will say on the weekends, I try to plan ahead for the week. So that means that I am checking my calendar. I'm kind of looking at the whole week, seeing if there's anything weird, like, oh, I have a doctor's appointment, or oh, I have that thing on Friday, or oh, I volunteered to help with football food on Thursday afternoon, that is going to throw off our regular schedule. I also do this every single day. So when I sit down at my desk and I'm ready to work, I'm checking my calendar. One of my friends actually had a great suggestion. She checks hers at night before bed for the next day. I don't do that, but I thought that was brilliant, because I like have a very set morning routine with when I get up, what I do for my kids, and like we just kind of go through the motions of our morning routine. And then I look at my calendar and sometimes things have already popped up, right? Or it's like, oh, today was pink out and you needed $1 or whatever. So I think that's a brilliant idea, is to check it the night before. So before you go to bed, got all that stuff in your brain, look at your calendar for the next day, and it'll just like kind of refresh where you are for the day that's coming up. Then when I sit down, I look at my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, I probably won't be there. And then I go through my emails, I manage my email in my inbox, and then I do like to write a handwritten list of kind of a brain dump of what my most important things that need to get done are for today. Today. If you have a partner or a spouse who has to help you, especially if you're in the season that I am, where you're managing kids and schedules, and you do have a partner or spouse who helps you, or a co-parent, I think it's good to check in every single day. I know that's like a lot, but Rob and I just cannot function a week or a month at a time. It's like, hey, what do we have today? Who has to be where? Who am I taking someplace? And we have to do that together. So if you're the person who by default does all of that on your own, I would just really encourage you to grab your partner or whoever is helping you and kind of go over that as much as possible, so that you're not having to rely on remembering doing everything yourself. If you're a single parent, or if you're a single person and you don't have kids and you're just having to manage your own time, or you're managing kids by yourself, I would just say, have some sort of system that keeps your routine going when you don't necessarily have that help. I know when Rob was deployed, I had to be more reliant on friends and family for help sometimes, because that was just the reality of having a big family with a husband who was gone. Realize that it is okay for your to-do list to be living. That's what I always say. Things are not, it's okay. Like, they're not all going to get done today. I might brain dump 20 things, and I might like star the things that are most important that get done today. And then guess what? The next day when I open up my list, I'm taking things off that day and I'm writing them today that didn't get done. That's okay. Give yourself grace on that. Okay, last thing that I want to talk about is just managing the stress part. And for me, I think prioritizing self-care is so important, but I do want you to think about taking it a little bit deeper than just the basics. So something that kind of drives me crazy in a company where in the beauty industry, right? Bath, body, beauty, at Align, I see this like across the industry, not here, is that we tell people like, you deserve self-care. Make sure you wash your face. Like, no, washing your face is basic hygiene and like personal care. Like, that should not be the only self-care that you're getting. Is like the basics. So I would encourage you to go a little bit deeper than the basics. Take a few minutes, you can do this now or later, and think about the things that you do in your day that make you feel really good and then help you pause. Because I know my personality can like rush. Like, I'm the personality that sometimes I find myself rushing for literally no reason. Like, why am I rushing to get home after I drop my kids off? I don't have an appointment. I don't have a meeting. I don't have to be on a call the second that I walk in the door. Like, why am I rushing? Rushing through our day feels really stressful. So slow it down and think about some of the things that make you feel really good and help you pause. Maybe it is washing your face. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Maybe it's using your red light wand, because that's a little bit slower. Maybe it's taking the time to like use that body butter from head to toe after a shower. Maybe it's one of my daughters. I think this is so cute. She's 13 and her like weekend thing is like an 11-step hair routine, like double cleansing, deep conditioning, hair oil, curl cream. I don't know. She has like 11 steps to her hair care routine that she does every single weekend. That's something that's taking it beyond the basics, right? And it makes her feel really good and it helps her pause. Okay. So what are those things in your day that help you pause? Because your schedule is not going to get less busy. The seasons are not going to not be busy. It's managing our stress in those seasons. For me, managing my stress means boundaries. If it's not on my calendar, I probably won't be there. Controlling my own calendar, committing to my calendar and not to everyone and to everything. Having a plan, planning ahead, knowing what's happening so that I'm well prepared for the week. But it's also just managing the stress that comes up. So is it your morning routine? Is it like nightly tea? Is it a hot bath? Is it a face mask? Is it no kids are in your room for 20 minutes before you go to sleep? I kick my kids out of my room in the evening at a certain point. Like, I want to lay in my own bed for 30 minutes with nobody talking to me or touching me. Okay. What makes you feel really, really good? Is it lunch once a week by yourself? Is it a new book once a month? Is it not rushing through your commute, like taking your time? Maybe you take the long way home and you listen to your favorite podcast for 45 minutes. That can be a very powerful time to decompress. Time alone in the car. Maybe it's your 10 minutes in the car when you get home. Don't come out and talk to me when I'm sitting in my car in the driveway. Give me my 10 minutes. Mark those things in your calendar as well. Make them a non-negotiable. If it's a 45-minute walk, Shanae is so good at this too. Like, she has certain things that she does that I know she does with Ammon, which is her husband. Maria travels a lot. Like, her non-negotiable is traveling with her family, making sure that they're unplugged on those weekends. What are they? Like, what are those things? You have to put those at the top of your calendar, not at the top of your day, but like they have to be in there too, right? Your calendar cannot be filled with everyone and everything in the sun, under the sun, for your crazy schedule, and that's it. Like, that's why we get overwhelmed and stressed out, because we look at our calendars and our planners and our to-do list, and it's literally like laying yourself on the floor serving everyone else. Do you have yourself on your to-do list? Please put yourself back on there somewhere. So finally, I just want to say everyone has stressful seasons and busy schedules and days. But we recently, kind of in the social selling world, lost someone who was kind of wasn't kind of, is a legend. If you've never heard of Jesi Lee, she is like the #1 social seller in the world. And she was diagnosed with colon cancer and passed away 7 months later. And just recently, last week. And I think that when things like that happen, not only in our own personal worlds when we have loss, but also when we see someone like so publicly pass away so quickly or from something so unexpected like cancer, I think it's just such a good reminder that like the little things probably don't matter. If it wouldn't stress you out 5 years from now, it's not worth stressing out over it for more than 5 minutes today. And that's easier said than done. But it's so important, right? Like prioritizing those things that we talked about in the beginning and really aligning your schedule and managing your time to really treat those things like priorities is so, so important. I don't want to look back at the end of my life, if it's short or long, and think about wasted time that I let slip through my fingers because I didn't manage my own schedule, or because I said yes to everyone, or because I committed to things that I frankly didn't want to do. And so I would just encourage you tonight to look at what those top priorities are and figure out how you can prioritize them and make them really the most important, because they are what really matters the most to you. Stop trying to remember everything. Stop relying on remembering. Commit to your calendar and put yourself back on your to-do list, because I know you have 50 other things on there. And so my question to you is just like, are you on your to-do list? Are you on your schedule? Because if you're not, it's like impossible to not get stressed and overwhelmed. And even if you are, we're still going to get stressed and overwhelmed. But I hope that that just gives you some ideas and helps you remember that life is busy, schedules are crazy, and we're all busy and we're all crazy, and everyone is just doing the best that they can. And so when you have a bad day and you forget all the things, give yourself grace to get back on track, to plan ahead, to look at your calendar, to commit to your calendar, and to just ask yourself every few weeks, like, what are my top priorities? Am I managing my time and managing my schedule in order to make those things really the most important? And how can I manage my own stress so that I can enjoy my life, have more balance, have more joy, and also serve everyone else around me well? Thank you guys so much for hopping on Cultivate tonight. I hope that you got something out of it. I have a very special coupon code for you. So I will make sure that I put the link in the comments for our Cultivate attendees. If you attended tonight or you watched the replay, click on the link. It's going to have you fill out a form with your email and your phone number. When you hit sign me up, it will automatically pop up the code for you. So you can copy it right there, email it to yourself. I do that a lot. And that way you have the code. So what we have for you is a free refresh pod mask, which are aloe pod masks. There's 10 masks, 10 sets in here, and they are so refreshing and relaxing. And I think they're perfect for helping you kind of de-stress your schedule. And so free refresh pod mask with a $99 order. That is good starting today through Saturday, the 23rd. If you pay attention to Align and any of our marketing that we send out to you, we also have our red light wand on sale this week only for $99. So yours truly thought, hey, if you're spending $99, I would love to give you a free refresh pod mask, and I would highly encourage you to use it as you de-stress your schedule. And I will make sure that that link is in the comments for you. If you have any questions about calendars, planning, time management, any of the above, feel free to ask them in the comments. I will come back and check them, and make sure you use your code before Saturday, because it will expire Saturday at midnight. Good night, guys.